So in today's video, what I want to cover is how can you make your static images profitable? And this is going to cover 3 areas of focus. We're going to talk about horizontal expansion. How can you develop ad concepts? How can you test ad concepts? And how do you build iterations so that over a long enough time horizon, let's say after 90 days of complete harsh testing, you're going to have around 8 to 10 ad winners that can be evergreen any time of the year that you can launch these ads. You're going to generate some sort of profit. Now, the second area of focus is we want to organize our creative testing. Now, there's layers to organization, right? One thing is, okay, you organize the concepts you're building. You go layer by layer. You go audience demographic by audience demographic. Now, we go a step further to that is you take what you've tested from an ad concept perspective and then from a media buying point of view, you look at those data points, you look at the hold rate, you look at the hook rate, you look at the CPMs, you look at soft metrics. So then let's say you had a failed concept test, but you know the hold rate was really good. The first 3 to 5 seconds had a lot of attention. People stopped scrolling, but there was drop off within the last 5, 10, 15 seconds, right? This is from a UGC perspective. And then we want to make iterations where we take the first 5 seconds of a hook and then we apply that to a different concept that had really good B-roll footage, right? And then in theory, we're Frankensteining a winning ad concept by taking winning components from different concepts tested to then build the universal everlasting ad that should run year round, right? So that's kind of the theory behind the reason why we want to organize our creative testing and track this data points is because if we have a static image, right, we have a headline, we have the background photo, we have the model that works. Let's say we have a really good winning headline and then we want to test the model demographic. Maybe a specific model attracts an older demographic and then a different model attracts a younger demographic, right? So then we have different components of, okay, we need to pull a lever, or if we need to expand the funnel, we have concepts, we have adverts that give us this data to then we have a North Star. We can generate a coherent, creative plan of action that's going to generate us profitable unit economics. Now, the last phase of this area of focus is the flywheel system, which is going to be how does this system, how can we produce up to 90 creatives a month all in-house without relying on ad agencies? And this is easier than it may seem. You only need a team of 4. You need an editor that handles post-production. So what their day-to-day role is they're gonna take raw finished deliverables. This could be static images. This could be like UGC raw footage. Finalize that in post-production. Work with the creative strategist to finalize these concepts and then bring them to life. Now, what does a creative strategist do, right? Another important role for the internal team. The creative strategist is in charge of market research, developing ad concepts to ultimately target a specific demographic. And then we want to organize the demographics we do test, right? So we might expand into a Gen Z sector of audience. We might go into fully women. We might go men. We might go men from 30 to 55. We might go women from 45 to 55, right? We want to organize each demographic test per whatever concept we want to build. And I'm going to dive into the specifics of what is a concept, what is an angle, so on and so forth. Now, the 2 other roles internally that you will need as you scale past $1,000 a day in ad spend, $5,000 a day ad spend is you're looking at a creative coordinator, and then you're looking at maybe a CRM specialist, somebody on the back end that can call these customers, handle relationships on the back end, build that use case, and then from there they can take issues that customers have brought concerns to the company with, bring that to the creative strategist, and then you can create lucrative angles around that, handling objections from your existing customer demographic. Now, all in all of this to say, why should you listen to me? And first of all, what are static images? Well, static images are simply put images, clear-cut photos that you run as an advert, and then as a byproduct, you're able to most of the time get cheaper CPMs because this is not a video format, and ultimately it's easier for a user to engage with the photo than it is for a video, right? With the photo, with the image, they can read the whole image within 3 to 5 seconds, especially if you have subtitles, headlines, whatever. Whereas with a video, they have to stay longer than 5, 10, 15 seconds, right? Then they're not going to see the full context of your video. So when it comes to concepts, the way we get somebody to buy off an impulse is by organizing the angles, organizing the throughput. So with that being said, let's dive into specifics on what the developing the creative concept process, what does that look like internally? So what I want to define is terms. when it comes to developing creative concepts and when it comes to horizontal expansion. Now, what are angles? Angles are simply put what is the ideal customer profile we are targeting, and then we want to incorporate congruent copy, keyword, slang from our ideal customer profile. Now, as we expand into concepts, how are we going to portray the following angles mentioned above? This is your static, your GIF, your UGC. Now, orders of operation. Statics are by far the easiest concept to develop because it's only going to take a fraction of the time. Vice versa with the GIF, there's more post-production requirement, but it's still way more efficient than UGC. UGC take average deliverable time anywhere from 2.5 to 4 weeks, and there's a lot of issues to be held, and there's no guarantee that you're going to have a winning advert from said UGC. I've been able to test more concepts with static images, hence why like during Q4, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, majority of our portfolio, we scaled with just static images. And these are like evergreen we built back in Q1. So all in all, the process to this is we have an OG concept. We create 2 variations. This might split test the hook, change copy, or slight variations in the common slang. But for every concept, we do launch 2 variations. Now, in theory, what this looks like is, okay, we have a single concept, 2 additional variations. We run this in a campaign. We follow the modular framework. In a UGC dynamic, you're going to have like a hook, problem, felt solution, a lot of these segments where you can mix, match, and move. Now, for static images, it's a bit different because there's less variables to test, but you can have like, you can split test, you could do the same variation of iterations here to the static, right? You could have different headlines that you could do an A/B test with different model images, different backgrounds, different copy, right? There's always room here to expand. Now, plug and play into how can we organize our creative tests? How can we look at the data points? Well, it comes down to ultimately looking at the concept level and applying these concepts here. So like for every post-production that's finalized in this scenario, we have each concept outlined by a specific angle where the threshold of impression is, right? We had a collection drop here. We had, okay, specific concepts following a Father's Day holiday. Then we have a specific military launch, right? And then we have different concepts. So we are constantly expanding horizontally. We're constantly making iterations to what's worked in the past based off Facebook data from our creative strategist. Our creative strategist is in charge of that. And then as a byproduct, we are always innovating because we start with the static. If we have winning concepts at a static level, we build into a GIF. Then we build into UGC, right? And while we're starting with any concept at a static level first, we're going to have winners that go up the vertical, and we never stop testing horizontally. So our margin for efficiency to test, because we're testing static images, we can be more efficient with our budget to test because static images are less labor intensive. If I was on a TikTok platform, right, I would only be able to run ads via UGC. So then I would have less opportunity to see success because the cost of goods to get UGC is more expensive than a static image. So in today's day and age, in today's economy, if I'm trying to build my brand, my business, establish it on Meta, I would spend 99% of my focus on static images. And in these static images, I am focusing on laying out these angles. I'm trying to organize demographics that I could target with these static images. I want to incorporate the same keywords, the same slang. I want to build variations so then over a long enough time horizon, I have an idea of who my ideal customer profile is, and I am constantly expanding the creative flywheel system. So to recap everything in summary, it's we start off with statics, build into GIFs, then go into UGC. When it comes to angles, what does that mean? We want to incorporate the same congruent copy, keywords, slang that our ideal customer profile is using, and then simultaneously we want to build variations on top of that. Now, for every advert produced, we look at data from the past, make analysis, and then from there we build iterations on that. So then we are building the everlasting ad that's going to run any time of the year, because from our previous data, we take losers and we're building them into winners. So with that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comment them down below. If you're looking to get set up for an exit one day, right? You want to have the ability to retire. You want to have the ability to fulfill your dream. If you're a business founder, whatever your end goal is in this game, check out scalevelocity.io. We have the exact protocol necessary so that you can take the exact steps to one day exit your company without having to get burned by ad agencies, without having to take on huge amount of investment debt from investors or banks, so on and so forth. Check out scalevelocity.io. You can see the protocol. You can book a call, speak directly to me. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video.